Welcome back to Ingenuity Services YouTube channel. We are in Financial Modeling Series 1.0 and I'm continuing my video on formula number 5 called Ppmt, but I'm going to improvise that a little bit with a loan amortization table, or I can say a loan calculation table for our references. Again, the formula will vary a little bit here because there is a table of data set that we are going to create right now. So let me just take up these data and then put it in a brand new sheet, and then I'm going to just make some small changes in our list. Let me bring the data set here, and then let me just take this data set out of the equation, and then I'll remove even this interest component here, and I'm going to find out the PMTs here. If you're looking for a loan amortization, so you will calculate the following list. You calculate the EMI that you pay, and as well as you calculate the principal that you pay, and you will also calculate the interest that you pay. And now I am taking this data set a little bit lesser than the normal because I want to showcase all of this dimension better. So I'm going to say 12 is the months that I'm going to add, and then I'm going to make this a bigger one. So first, let me just create a list of data set here. Here you can use the same sequence functionality to work around. It's only a 12-month period here, so I'm going to give a 12 here, and then I'll say equals sequence. Select your number here and give an enter. That's going to give you the 12-month period for you. Now I want to calculate the EMI for each and every part, and then I can do that with easier. So if I'm going to use the data set, I'm going to just say equals PMT functionality. The rate of interest is this. There is no multiple calculation that I'm going to do right now like I did in the previous video. I'm going to give a comma, and then the number of months is going to be this. Then I'm going to give a comma, and then I'm going to keep the principal value as this. And if you want to retain all of them in one shot, or if you want to answer them all in one shot, so I'm going to just say come down here, and then I'll say equals PMT functionality, select my interest rate, lock it out, comma, and then bring the number of years here, then lock it out. Then I can add an absolute cell reference here, and then close the bracket and keep an enter. That's going to populate all our list. If you feel like you don't need a negative number in front of it, then you can add a negative in front of your list. That's going to change all your number into positive. So why in the world that I gave all the months using a sequence series here is when I calculate a principal, I would like to know what is the principal that I'm paying for the month 1 here, and what is the interest rate that goes on month 1 here. This is where our next logic will come into play. I'm going to use Ppmt functionality. I'm going to give a control A. That's going to populate a little bigger or little different dimension altogether. Again, you'll see one more additional field called PER that comes into play. PER stands for which period you're paying, or which period you want to find out the principal value here. So the rest of the data is going to remain same. So the data is going to be this absolute cell reference once. The PER should be 1. I'm not going to lock it. I'm going to leave it as it is because I want that thing to move downwards until 12. And then in the number of period, again, I'm going to just say 12 here, lock it out, and then the principal value. I don't need a negative value here. I'm going to add a minus in front of my data set, and then add the loan amount, give an F4 once, and I'm keeping everything as a 0 valuation. I'm not bothered about the FE or the types here. When I give an OK, that's going to populate our list. When I drag this down towards, you can see slightly and slowly the principal valuations are increasing, and the initial month my interest rate is beyond comparable here. So I'm going to use the same logic again, but this time I'm using an Ipmt function. Same logics, nothing changed here, only the formula is changing here, and the result will also change here. So when I populate this will be keep reducing to a lower value here. Let me just make this as, oh, sorry, I didn't lock the last one, that's why it's giving me the answer only in the first point. When I populate, you can see that the interest rate is reducing slowly but steadily, but the first 6 months or maybe the 7-month period, they would have received most of their loans with easy. If you want to calculate a period of loans here, you can use 2 more functionality here. One is called cumulative interest, and cumulative principal. So let's see how I'm going to use these dimension. When I do this again, the logic still remains same. So when I give a control A, it's going to populate our data set in this way. Here the formula is slightly varying here because we are going to see the starting period and end period is what we are going to say, and the valuation is going to be a singular value, so we don't need to lock it. You can just say that the interest rate is this, the number of period is this, and the principal value is this. I want to give the 6-month principal payment is how much. Then I'm going to give a comma, and then I'm going to give a type here called 0. So I'm going to take this. Now the total principal that I paid so far in the last 6-month period is 2.41 lakhs. That's what it says. Let me see whether it is going to show you the same logic. I just gave you 1 month to 6 months here. Yes, the principal payment that I want to see right now is this. So if I sum them up, so I'm going to just say sum, and then I'm going to just take the first 6 months of data set and close the bracket and give an enter. That's going to give you the same answer. This is our principal payment, and you can even calculate the interest payment in the same pattern. I'm going to use a different formula here. That's it. So I'm going to just say what is the interest that I paid during the period. So the rate is this, the period is this, the loan is this, and I'm going to give 1 to 6 months, and the type is going to be 0 when I do that. And this is the value that I got as an interest point. So when you calculate this, the same functionality here, I'm going to just come back here. Let's see sum of them from the 6 months to the previous point. Then you get the same answer, whatever you got. So this is the way we can calculate our EMIs and the principal amount that I'm paying for each and every month, and interest that is deducted from my EMI that I pay to the banker, and I can find out the cumulative principal and the cumulative interest formula here. The formula that I've used in here, this is the formula that I use for cumulative principal, and cumulative interest is this. If you want to know more about the formulas on the EMIs, then you can just add another formula text here. Then I'm going to populate all of them here and then expand it. So this is the Ppmt, Ppmt and Ipmt. I've logged most of my data set here. It's up to you whether you want to lock it or not, but again, when you lock it, it works spick and span for us. This is Vinod signing out from iSelf Academy YouTube channel, and today we just saw how to work with loan amortization calculations and how do we use the cumulative principal and cumulative interest payment during a specific period given to us. Thank you so much.